So, the Berlin International Literature Festival and the Gloucester Writers Center welcomes you to the worldwide reading of Salman Rushdie. The reading is to promote freedom of literature and public speech, as well as to show solidarity with Rushdie, who was the victim of a horrific assassination attempt. This act of violence goes back to the fatwa that Iranian leader Ayatollah Khomeini issued against Rushdie in 1989, calling for the killing of the Indian-born British writer because he had supposedly insulted Islam, the Quran, and the Prophet Muhammad in the satanic verses. For years, Salman Rushdie had to live under police protection, but for the last 2 decades it was assumed that there was no longer any danger to his life. This assumption was proven wrong by the bloody attack in New York in August, making clear that the threat to elementary human rights and freedoms remains unbroken. The attack on Rushdie comes at a time when the democratic world is being threatened by increasingly aggressive authoritarian powers. And so we stand up to defend law and human dignity. By reading Salman Rushdie's words, freedom-loving people all over the world can send a signal that they will not be intimidated by threats of violence and will not bow to any attempt to suppress or annihilate thoughts expressed in speech, writing, and images. The passages in the satanic verses that Muslim critics have condemned as blasphemous refer to a figure named Mahund, whom they regard as a thinly and perversely disguised representation of the Prophet Muhammad. Mahund appears in the novel only as a character in another character's dreams. This character, Gibril Farishta, suffers from the delusion that he is the Archangel Gabriel. In Gibril's dreams, Mahund is victimized by an unfaithful scribe, a scribe named Salman, just like Mr. Rushdie, who distorts the meaning of his words. In one passage, Salman, the fictional scribe, recalls what he did.
Little things at first. If Mahon recited a verse in which God was described as all-hearing, all-knowing, I would write all-knowing, all-wise. Here's the point. Mahon did not notice the alterations, so there I was, actually writing a book, or rewriting anyway, polluting the Word of God with my own profane language. But good heavens, if my poor words could not be distinguished from the revelation by God's own messenger, then what did that mean? What did that say about the quality of the divine poetry? Look, I swear, I was shaken to my soul.
It's one thing to be a smart bastard and have self-suspicions about funny business, but it's quite another thing to find out that you're right. Listen, I changed my life for that man. I left my country, crossed the world, settled among people who thought me a slimy foreign coward, but never mind that. The truth is that what I expected when I first time changed all wise instead of all hearing, what I wanted was to read it back to the prophet, and he'd say, "What's the matter with you, Salman? Are you going deaf?" And I'd say, "Oops, oh God, bit of a slip, I'll die and wreck myself." But it didn't happen. And now I was writing the Revelation, and nobody was noticing. And I didn't have the courage to own up. I was scared silly, I can tell you. Also, I was sadder than I have ever been. So I had to go on doing it. Maybe he just missed out once, I thought. Anybody can make a mistake. So the next time I changed the character, he said Christian. I wrote down Jew. He noticed that, surely. How could he not? And then I read the chapter, nodded, thanked him politely. And I went out of his tent with tears in my eyes.
After that, I knew my days in Yathrib were numbered, but I had to go on doing it. I had to. There's no bitterness like that of a man who finds out he has been believing in a ghost. I would fall, I know, but he would fall with me. So I went on with my development, changing verses, until one day I read my lines to him and saw him frown and shake his head
as if to clear his mind, and then nod and approval slowly, but with a little doubt. I knew I'd reached the edge, and that the next time we wrote the book, he'd know everything.
The title of Salman Rushdie's novel refers to an incident in Muhammad's life recorded by early Arab historians and discredited later by later experts on the Quran. The incident involves Muhammad's acceptance of 3 pagan goddesses to aid his own cause, and his subsequent repudiation of this act as having been inspired by the devil. In Gibral's dream, the fictional prophet Mahund has a similar experience. After his repudiation of the satanic verses, Mahund returns home to find his wife dead. Mahund, alone and full of echoes in the house of his bereavement, gives his consent, and the faithful depart to make their plans.
Khalid, the water-carrier, hangs back, and the hollow-eyed prophet waits for him to speak. Awkwardly, he says, "Messenger, I doubted you, but you were wiser than we knew. First, we said, Mahmoud will never compromise, and you compromise. Then we said, Mahmoud has betrayed us, but you were bringing us a deeper truth. You brought us the devil himself, so that we could witness the workings of the evil one, and his overthrow by the right. You have enriched our faith." Mahmoud moves away from the sunlight falling through the window. Yes, bitter cynicism. It was a wonderful thing I did. Bringing you the devil. Yes, that sounds like me.
And from the opening, where a plane, the Bostan, has blown apart in midair.
Shamcha held on to Gary
While another began.
Slowly at first, and then with increasing rapidity and force to flap his arms. Harder and harder he flapped, and as he flapped, a song burst out of him, and like the song of the spectre of a Rekab Merchant,
It was sung in a language he did not know, to a tune
he'd never heard. Gabriel never repudiated the miracle. Unlike Shamsha, who tried to reason it out of existence, he never stopped saying that the Quran
Without the song, the flapping would have been for nothing. And without the flapping, it was a sure thing that they would have hit the waves like rocks or what, and simply burst into pieces on making contact with the taut drum of the sea. Whereas instead they began to slow down. The more emphatically Gibril flapped and sang and flapped, the more pronounced the deceleration, until finally the two of them were floating down the channel like scraps of paper in a breeze. They were the only survivors of the wreck, the only ones who fell from the Bostan and lived. They were found washed up on a beach. The more voluble of the two, the one in the purple shirt, swore in his wild rambling that they had walked upon the water, that the waves had borne them gently into shore. But the other, whose head a soggy bowler hat flung as if by magic, denied this. God, we were lucky, he said. How lucky can you get? I know the truth, obviously. I watched the whole thing. As to omnipresence and potence, I make no claims at present, but I can manage this much, I hope. Shamsha willed it, and Farishta did what was willed. Which was the miracle worker? Of what type, angelic, satanic, was Farishta's song? Who am I? Let's put it this way. Who has the best tunes? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you all for coming today to help us promote freedom of expression and freedom of the word. And thank you, Gloucester Writers Center.
Thank you, Joanne.
And the Literature Festival of Berlin, who organizes this around the world.
Just go sit on it.